Hey there, let me ask you a simple question. Have you ever felt like your peace is being disturbed by someone else's actions or words? Like they can push your buttons so easily and suddenly you're angry or bothered? Well, I'm here to tell you that it's not only possible but essential to never let anyone disturb your inner peace. Imagine being so confident, so secure in yourself that no matter what anyone says or does, you remain Sounds like a dream? It's time to wake up and make it your reality. Here are the 8 powerful secrets that will help you never get angry or bothered by anyone ever again. Stick with me till the end. You'll feel transformed, I promise. Your mind is the most powerful tool you possess. Think about it. Everything you experience, feel, and even perceive starts within your mind. It's not the world outside that controls you. It's how you react to it. The truth is, every emotion you experience, whether happiness, anger, sadness, or excitement, originates from a thought. And if you can master your thoughts, you can master your emotions. Imagine having the power to stay calm in a storm, to remain unshaken when the world around you is chaotic. It's not a dream, it's a choice. A choice you can make right now. Let's talk about your thoughts for a moment. Have you ever found yourself stuck in a loop of negativity? Maybe someone said something that hurt you, and for hours, or even days, you couldn't stop thinking about it. You played it over and over in your head. The more you thought about it, the angrier you became. The truth is, those thoughts were not reality. They were just your mind spiraling. When you keep replaying something negative in your head, you are giving that event or person power over you. You're choosing to be affected by it. But here's the revelation. You have the power to stop that cycle. You are not a prisoner to your thoughts. Your thoughts do not define you unless you allow them to. You can choose to let go of negative thoughts and replace them with thoughts that serve you, that empower you. Imagine waking up in the morning and saying to yourself, "Today, I choose peace. I choose to be in control." That simple affirmation shifts the energy around you and sets the tone for the entire day. Let's put this into perspective with a simple daily example. Think about your daily commute to work or school. How many of you have been stuck in traffic and found yourself getting frustrated? The more you're stuck, the angrier you get, and before you know it, the entire drive becomes an ordeal. But here's the secret. Traffic is not the problem. The problem is how you react to the traffic. What if you shifted your mindset? What if instead of getting angry, you use that time to listen to an inspiring podcast, or even better, practice gratitude? In that moment, you would be in control and you would feel empowered rather than frustrated. The external world may not change, but your reaction to it can. And that, my friends, is where true power lies. Now let's look at a slightly different scenario. Think about a time when you were faced with criticism. Maybe it was something you worked hard on, and someone pointed out flaws or even outright criticized your efforts. How did you react? Did you feel like defending yourself or shutting down? That's natural, but let me ask you, did the criticism change anything about the work you did? The answer is likely no. Criticism is merely an opinion, and opinions are shaped by the biases and perspectives of others. But your value, your work, your effort is not determined by someone else's opinion. When you allow criticism to shake you, you're handing over the control of your confidence and peace of mind to someone else. Instead, imagine taking that feedback with grace, evaluating it objectively, and using it to improve, not as a weapon against your worth. This shift in perception happens in your mind. One of the greatest misconceptions we have is that emotions control us. That somehow if we get angry, sad, or upset, we have no choice but to feel that way. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Emotions are a reaction to thoughts. And thoughts are something you can control. When you understand this, it's like unlocking a superpower. The next time someone cuts you off in traffic or says something rude to you, you have the choice. You can either react or you can respond. A reaction is impulsive, emotionally charged, and typically driven by past experiences or insecurities. A response, however, is calm, deliberate, and rooted in a higher sense of self-awareness. For example, imagine you're having a conversation with someone and they interrupt you. making you feel unheard. The initial instinct might be to raise your voice or snap back, right? But take a second, breathe, and choose to respond calmly. You could say, I appreciate your thoughts, but let me finish. In that moment, you've not only retained your peace, but you've also commanded respect. This is the magic of mastering your mind. You are no longer at the mercy of outside influences. You become the influencer of your own emotion. It's all about shifting your perspective. The world is full of noise, chaos, and unpredictability, but your mind doesn't have to be. Your mind can be a sanctuary. It can be a place where you find stillness, where you are not constantly reacting to the world, but instead responding in a way that aligns with your highest self. Imagine the freedom that comes with knowing that nothing, absolutely nothing, has the power to disturb your inner peace unless you allow it to. You are the gatekeeper of your emotions. No one else can decide how you feel unless you permit them. And here's the best part. This power isn't something that's reserved for a select few. This is available to everyone. Every single person who walks this earth has the ability to control their thoughts, to shift their mindset, and to become the master of their emotions. It doesn't matter where you come from, what you've been through, or how many times you've felt out of control. What matters is that you realize you have the choice, always. So the next time you feel anger building up, stop, breathe, ask yourself, is this worth my peace? More often than not, you realize that the answer is no. You are far too important to let someone's negativity steal your peace. Your mind, once you take full control, becomes your greatest ally. It's time to stop giving away your peace and start reclaiming it with every thought you think. Imagine this, you walk into a room and instantly you can feel the energy shift. People around you start talking, laughing, and gossiping about things that don't concern you. Before you know it, you're pulled into the conversation, drawn into negativity, and you start to feel your peace slip away. Why? Because you didn't set a boundary. You didn't say, this is where I stop, and you start. The truth is, boundaries are your protection, your shield, and your power. They are not walls to keep people out. They are guidelines that tell others how to treat you and how to interact with your energy. We often think that boundaries are about saying no to others, but the real power lies in knowing when to say yes to yourself. If you allow others to constantly take from you, your time, your energy, your peace, what's left for you? You become drained, frustrated, and resentful. But the moment you decide to set clear boundaries, everything changes. You take back your power, you reclaim your peace, and suddenly the people around you begin to respect you more, not because you demanded it, but because you taught them how to treat you. Let's talk about a situation many of us face in our professional lives. You've got a colleague who is always asking you for favors, whether it's doing their work for them, covering for them in meetings, or spending hours helping them when you know they should be handling their own responsibilities. And each time you say yes because you want to be the team player, you want to be liked, you want to be helpful. But what happens? You start feeling resentful. You begin to feel overburdened. And yet, you continue to say yes because you don't know how to say no. But the truth is, by not setting boundaries, you're enabling a cycle of unbalanced relationships. You're allowing someone to take advantage of your time and energy. Imagine this, you walk into work and decide, today I set a boundary. When that colleague asks for your help again, instead of feeling guilty, you respond with calm confidence. I'm happy to help, but I have my own task to focus on right now. Let me know if you need guidance, but I can't do it for you. In that moment, you've set a clear boundary, not in a harsh or rude way, but in a way that maintains respect for both yourself and the other person. Boundaries don't have to be aggressive. They can be firm, gentle, and respectful. The beauty of boundaries is that they allow you to remain true to your own needs and protect your mental and emotional well-being. Now think about your personal life. How often do we let others dictate how much of our time they can take? How often do we allow others to violate our space, emotionally or physically? Maybe it's a family member who constantly calls you with their problems, draining you without offering anything in return. Or perhaps it's a friend who always wants to meet up when you need alone time, forcing you into uncomfortable social situations. This happens because you haven't set a boundary. You haven't communicated clearly that your time is precious and that your energy is limited. By failing to set those boundaries, you are teaching others that your peace is negotiable. But what if you decided to set a clear boundary? What if the next time that family member calls you in the middle of your quiet evening, you say, I understand you're upset and I want to support you, but right now I need some space to recharge. Can we talk tomorrow? Or when that friend tries to invite you out for the 10th time this week, you calmly say, I really need some time to focus on myself. Let's plan something next week. Setting boundaries is not about pushing people away. It's about taking responsibility for your own well-being and protecting it. You have the right to say, my time and energy are valuable and I need to reserve them for the things that matter most to me. The beauty of setting boundaries is that it teaches others how to respect you. People can only treat you the way you allow them to treat you. When you constantly overextend yourself without a clear boundary, you inadvertently invite disrespect. But when you stand firm in your boundaries, you start attracting respect. You start attracting people who value your time, your energy, and your space. And those who don't respect your boundaries, well, you've just learned that it's okay to let go of relationships that drain you. Let's shift gears and talk about romantic relationships for a moment. We've all experienced moments where we've been pushed to compromise on our values, our needs, or our dreams for the sake of a partner. Maybe it's in the form of tolerating behavior that makes you uncomfortable, or perhaps it's neglecting your own dreams to support someone else's. But here's the thing. When you don't set clear boundaries in a relationship, you begin to lose yourself. You begin to allow someone else to dictate who you are, what you do, and what you believe. True love, whether it's for a partner, a friend, or even yourself, is about respect. And respect is built on the foundation of boundaries. Imagine you're in a relationship and you've realized that you're compromising too much of your time, your peace, and your values. Instead of staying silent, you finally decide to speak up. You sit down with your partner and say, I love you, but I need to have some time for myself. I need to pursue my own passions and have space to grow individually. This is important to me. In that moment, you've set a boundary that allows both of you to grow as individuals while still supporting each other. You've learned that love doesn't mean losing yourself. It means allowing yourself and your partner to thrive. The key to all of this is understanding that boundaries are a reflection of self-worth. When you don't set boundaries, you're telling the world, my time, energy, and peace are not as important as yours. But when you set clear boundaries, you're saying, I am worthy of respect. My needs are just as important as yours. Boundaries are not just about saying no to others. They're about saying yes to yourself. They are a declaration of your value and your right to maintain your peace, your time, and your energy. So the next time you feel overwhelmed or drained, ask yourself, have I set clear boundaries? And if the answer is no, it's time to start. Your peace, your time, and your energy are too precious to be given away without thought. Set those boundaries and watch how your life transforms. You'll find that your relationships become more balanced. Your self-esteem soars and your peace becomes unshakable. You deserve it. When was the last time you truly let go of expectations? Think about it for a moment. How often do you find yourself building expectations about how a situation should unfold, how people should behave, or how your life should look? It's almost as if we carry a mental checklist of how things are supposed to be in every aspect of our lives. And when things don't align with that image, we get frustrated, disappointed, and sometimes even bitter. But here's the truth. Expectations are the root cause of most of our pain. They trap us, limit us, and rob us of our peace. We live in a world that constantly feeds us the idea of perfection, whether it's through social media, societal norms, or even our own inner dialogue. We are taught that success should look a certain way, that relationships should be flawless, that our careers should follow a set path. But when things don't go as expected, we feel let down. We feel as though we've failed or that life has somehow wronged us. The truth, however, is that life isn't meant to unfold exactly as we plan. Life is unpredictable, messy, and full of surprises. And that's where the beauty lies. Let me give you a simple example from everyday life. Have you ever planned a trip, maybe even for months? and everything that could go wrong did. The flight was delayed, the weather didn't cooperate, or even worse, your luggage was lost. And in that moment, you feel anger, frustration, and even despair because everything you imagined wasn't coming to life. But here's what happens when you let go of the expectation of perfection. You begin to adapt. You start to see things differently. Instead of focusing on the disappointment, you open yourself to the adventure. You might meet someone new, discover a hidden gem of a restaurant, or simply enjoy the unexpected freedom that comes with letting go of control. When you let go of your expectations, you make space for life to surprise you in ways you never thought possible. This idea of letting go of expectations isn't limited to travel. It applies to every single area of your life. Relationships, for example, are one of the most common places where we place heavy expectations. We expect our friends, family, and partners to always meet our needs, to love us the way we think we should be loved, and to behave in a certain way. But here's the hard truth. No one is perfect. People are going to let you down. They will not always say the right thing. They won't always be there when you need them. And they might not love you in the way you expect. And that's okay. The key is learning to let go of the expectation that people should be anything other than who they are. When you release these expectations, you stop holding grudges, you stop feeling resentful, and you stop carrying the weight of disappointment. You begin to love people for who they truly are, not for who you expect them to be. Take a moment to reflect on a relationship where you felt frustrated or hurt. Maybe it's a friend who didn't show up for you when you needed them, or a partner who didn't understand your needs. Ask yourself, what were my expectations in this situation? Did you expect them to read your mind? Did you expect them to always put you first? When you release these expectations, you liberate yourself from unnecessary pain. You allow space for understanding and acceptance. And sometimes you even realize that what you needed wasn't what you thought you needed in the first place. Maybe you needed more patience, more communication, or more understanding from yourself, not them. Another area where expectations can cause havoc is in our careers. We all have an idea of what success looks like, the promotions, the accolades, the recognition. But what happens when that dream job doesn't come, or when the promotion slips through your fingers? You feel defeated, like you've somehow failed. But here's the truth. The path to success is never linear. It's full of twists and turns, detours, and sometimes even setbacks. When you expect your career to follow a neat, predictable path, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Instead, when you let go of that expectation, you start to appreciate the journey. You learn to find joy in the process rather than just the outcome. You begin to see that the challenges, the failures, and the unexpected changes are what shape you, what make you stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Success is not just the destination, it's the lessons you learn along the way. And let's not forget about expectations we place on ourselves. We expect perfection. We expect that we should always be happy, always be productive, always be in control. We expect that we should have it all figured out. But the truth is, you are allowed to be human. You are allowed to make mistakes. You are allowed to be messy. The moment you release the expectation of being perfect, you free yourself to truly grow, to truly experience life. Instead of striving to meet an impossible standard, you learn to embrace the process of becoming, and you give yourself the grace to evolve. You stop fighting against yourself and start flowing with life. Letting go of expectations also means embracing the unknown. How many times have you stressed over the future, imagining worst-case scenarios, creating stories in your head about how things will turn out? But none of those things have happened yet. And in fact, most of them never will. By releasing the need to control every detail of your future, you open yourself to the infinite possibilities life has to offer. You allow life to unfold naturally without the weight of your expectations holding it back. You begin to trust that whatever happens, you will be okay. And when you trust life, life begins to trust you in return. It will bring you the opportunities, the experiences, and the people you need at exactly the right time. When you let go of expectations, you stop trying to force things into being. You stop pushing against the flow of life and start moving with it. You realize that the most beautiful things in life often come when you least expect them. Whether it's a new friendship, an opportunity, or a moment of pure joy, life always has a way of surprising you when you release the need to control it. And when you stop expecting, you can finally begin to appreciate everything for exactly what it is, not what you thought it should be. Expectations will always be there, lurking in the background of our thoughts, trying to pull us into a world of shoulds. But the moment you choose to let go of them is the moment you step into your true power. You step into a life where you're no longer disappointed by what isn't happening, but open and grateful for what is. And that, my friends, is when life truly begins to unfold in ways you never imagined. One of the most powerful lessons you can learn in life is that not everything is about you. When someone criticizes you, when a colleague ignores you, or when a friend is distant, the natural instinct is often to take it personally. We tend to think that the world revolves around us, that the actions and words of others are a direct reflection of something we've done. But here's the truth that will free you. What others say and do is a reflection of them, not you. Think about this. Imagine a driver cuts you off on the road. What's your immediate reaction? You might feel angry, frustrated, or even offended. But what if I told you that their driving behavior has nothing to do with you? In reality, their rush or frustration is about their own circumstances. Maybe they're late for an important meeting, or maybe they're stressed about something you'll never know. When we take things personally, we forget that the world isn't revolving around our actions. People's behavior is shaped by their own stories, experiences, and emotions. When you stop taking things personally, you give yourself the freedom to let go of unnecessary pain. Let's consider another example. You've worked hard on a project at work, poured your heart and soul into it, only to have someone offer a criticism. Instinctively, the mind starts to spiral. They didn't like it, I'm not good enough, I failed. But if you take a step back, you'll see that their feedback is not a judgment on your worth, but rather a reflection of their perspective. Criticism, no matter how it is delivered, is subjective. It's not a personal attack on your abilities or value. It's simply someone offering an opinion based on their experiences and viewpoint. When you internalize everything others say, you tie your self-worth to their approval, which only sets you up for constant anxiety and disappointment. Now, let's bring this into the realm of relationships. How often have we all been in situations where a loved one is upset with us? Maybe it's a partner who doesn't seem to be as attentive as they once were, or a friend who is suddenly distant. The temptation is always to think, what did I do wrong? You might wonder if you said something wrong, acted in a way that upset them, or if they are simply losing interest in you. But here's the reality, their behavior is not about you. It's about their feelings, their experiences, and what's going on in their life. Just because someone is upset doesn't mean you're the cause. People's emotions are complex. And when you take their moods or behaviors personally, you become emotionally enmeshed in their drama. By stepping back and not internalizing their reactions, you regain your emotional freedom. Let's talk about social media for a moment. In today's world, it's so easy to take things personally. A friend doesn't like your post, a colleague doesn't comment on your update, or you feel ignored by a group of people online. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, they don't care about me, they're rejecting me. But the truth is, social media is not the full picture of someone's life. A person's reaction online is just a fraction of their reality. Maybe they're busy, or they don't engage with social media in the same way you do. Maybe they're going through something you don't know about. When you stop taking things personally, you liberate yourself from the emotional roller coaster that comes with seeking validation from others. There's a powerful quote by Don Miguel Ruiz, the author of The 4 Agreements, which says, "Don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you." This is the core of the message here. When someone acts in a way that triggers you, it's important to remember that it's not a reflection of your value or your character. The anger, frustration, or hurt they express is not your burden to carry. It's important to stop assuming that everything is about you, because doing so takes away your power. By not taking things personally, you empower yourself to remain calm and centered no matter what life throws your way. Let's also acknowledge the impact of taking things personally in our professional lives. How many times have we felt slighted by a colleague's behavior? Maybe a colleague didn't acknowledge your contribution to a project, or a superior skipped over your idea in a meeting. It's so easy to think, I'm being ignored, my work doesn't matter, they don't respect me. But what if instead of making it about you, you recognize that their actions have to do with their own insecurities, genders, or pressures they're facing? When you stop taking things personally, you shift the focus away from yourself and see situations for what they are, just situations. In fact, some of the most successful people in the world are those who have mastered this ability. They don't let others' opinions dictate their self-worth. They don't get bogged down by people's criticisms, rejections, or dismissals. Instead, they continue forward, true to themselves, because they know that everyone else is on their own journey and has their own lens through which they view the world. Their opinions of you are simply reflections of their own perceptions, not a definition of who you are. The moment you release the need to take things personally is the moment you free yourself from unnecessary stress, pain, and emotional baggage. It's the moment you realize that you don't need anyone's validation to know your worth. Your worth is intrinsic. It's not determined by what others think of you. When you embrace this mindset, you find peace. You stop reacting emotionally to every comment or action and start living with a sense of inner calm and resilience. You begin to focus on what truly matters: your growth, your happiness, and your sense of self. Next time you feel yourself triggered by someone's words or actions, remember, it's not about you, it's about them. By not taking things personally, you maintain your inner peace, refuse to be swayed by external judgments, and take control of your own emotional landscape. This is true emotional freedom. In life, we are constantly faced with situations that challenge our patience, test our emotions, and provoke us into reacting. It could be a stressful encounter with a colleague at work, a disagreement with a friend, or even a frustrating moment when everything seems to be going wrong. In these moments, the natural instinct is to react, to say something impulsively, to express anger, frustration, or hurt in the heat of the moment. But what if I told you that the power to control your emotions, your outcomes, and ultimately your peace lies in your ability to respond, not react? When you react, you allow external circumstances to dictate your emotional state. You let your knee-jerk response take over, and often that response can be one of defensiveness, anger, or regret. Reactions are driven by emotions. They are impulsive, quick, and often regretful. But when you choose to respond, you take control. You create space between the stimulus, the event that triggered you, and your reaction. In that space, you have the power to make a conscious choice about how you want to respond. Responding is about being aware, taking a step back, and choosing peace over chaos. Let's take an example from everyday life. You're at work, and your colleague makes a critical comment about a project you've been working on for weeks. Your initial reaction might be to defend yourself, to justify your choices, or to feel offended. But what would happen if, instead of reacting right away, you took a moment to breathe? What if you paused, gathered your thoughts, and then responded with grace and clarity? You might say, I understand your perspective. Let me explain my approach, and we can work together to find a solution. By responding, you've taken control of the situation. You've chosen a path of understanding rather than confrontation. In doing so, you not only diffuse the tension, but also demonstrate your emotional intelligence. Here's another example. Imagine you're driving and someone cuts you off on the road. Your first instinct might be to honk your horn, to shout, or to give them a look of anger. This reaction, though momentary, often carries a lot of unnecessary emotional weight. But if you decide to respond instead of react, you can let go of the anger and keep your calm. Instead of letting their actions dictate your emotions, you take a breath and move on. You realize that their behavior is a reflection of them, not you. And by choosing to remain calm, you maintain control over your emotional state. When you respond instead of react, you preserve your inner peace, and nothing external has the power to disturb you. This principle is vital not only in external situations, but also in our internal worlds. Responding is about managing your emotions rather than letting them control you. Let's take a look at a situation many people can relate to: self-doubt. There are moments when you might feel overwhelmed by feelings of inadequacy, whether it's in your career, your relationships, or your personal goals. Your initial reaction might be to sink into negativity, to criticize yourself, or to feel like a failure. But in those moments, you have the ability to respond. You can choose to counteract those thoughts with self-compassion and a renewed focus on your strengths. You can take a step back and say, I've faced challenges before and I've overcome them. I can do this. When you respond with intention and self-belief, you shift the narrative in your favor. You choose growth over defeat, empowerment over weakness. The same principle applies in relationships. How often have you found yourself reacting impulsively to something a loved one says or does? Maybe a partner forgets an important date or a friend cancels plans at the last minute. Your initial response might be anger or hurt. But when you stop and take a moment to respond instead of react, you open the door to understanding. You could approach the situation with patience and communication, saying, I felt disappointed when plans changed, but I understand things come up. Let's figure out another time. By responding with maturity and compassion, you strengthen the bond. You avoid unnecessary conflict and you create space for healthy dialogue and resolution. In fact, responding is one of the most empowering practices you can implement in your life. It's easy to get swept up in emotions, whether they're positive or negative. But the key to personal growth and happiness lies in how you manage those emotions. If you let yourself react impulsively, you are a prisoner to your emotions, constantly at the mercy of external circumstances. But if you choose to respond, you are the master of your emotional world. You create a life where you are not at the mercy of the actions of others, but rather you control your response to them. The beauty of responding lies in the freedom it gives you. Think about a time when someone insulted you or said something hurtful. If you had reacted, you might have escalated the situation, hurt your own feelings further, or said something you'd later regret. But if instead you paused and responded thoughtfully, the outcome would be entirely different. You would have maintained your dignity, stayed in control of your emotions, and possibly even turned the situation into an opportunity for growth or deeper understanding. Consider the example of a person who has learned to master the art of responding. They encounter a challenging situation at work, perhaps an argument with a colleague or a setback in a project. Rather than losing their temper or giving in to frustration, they take a moment to gather themselves. They choose to respond with calm and constructive feedback. They ask questions to understand the situation better and offer solutions. They stay focused on the outcome they desire and not the drama that might unfold. By doing this, they not only avoid unnecessary conflict but also earn the respect of others and set an example for how to handle challenges gracefully. The difference between reacting and responding is ultimately a choice. A choice to take a moment to breathe, to reflect, and to act with intention. It's about giving yourself the space to control your emotional state rather than letting emotions control you. The next time you are faced with a triggering situation, remember that the power is in your hands. You can choose to react, letting your emotions dictate your actions, or you can choose to respond, taking the high road and choosing peace, growth, and clarity. In that simple pause, in that space between stimulus and response, lies your true power. Gratitude is one of the most powerful tools we have to transform our lives. It's a simple yet profound practice. And the truth is, many of us overlook its power in our daily hustle. It's so easy to get caught up in what we don't have, in the things we still want to achieve, and in the struggles we face. But gratitude has the unique ability to shift our perspective, to take us from a place of scarcity to a place of abundance. When you practice gratitude daily, you train your mind to focus on what's good, on what you already have, instead of what's missing. Gratitude unlocks doors to positivity, peace, and joy. Let me take you through a simple but powerful example. Picture yourself waking up to the morning. Instead of immediately feeling rushed, anxious, or focused on the endless list of things to do, imagine waking up with a heart full of gratitude. You open your eyes, take a deep breath, and feel grateful for the fact that you are alive, that your body is healthy, and that you have the opportunity to experience another day. You might even feel thankful for the bed you're in, the warmth of your blankets, or the fact that you have a roof over your head. These simple things, often taken for granted, are the very foundation of a life filled with abundance. Gratitude turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. When you start your day this way, everything changes. You begin to see the beauty in the simplest things. You become aware of how much you already have, instead of focusing on what you lack. Take a moment to think about your career. How often do we focus on what isn't going right at work? The things that stress us out, the tasks we don't enjoy, or the problems we have to solve. But when you practice gratitude daily, you start to appreciate the small wins, the things that are going right. Maybe your team is supportive. Maybe you're learning something new every day. Or maybe you have a job that provides stability and financial security. Gratitude for your job, even on tough days, can shift your mindset from frustration to appreciation. It allows you to recognize that every challenge is an opportunity for growth and learning. Instead of complaining about your workload, you start to see it as a privilege, an opportunity to improve your skills, to push your boundaries, and to become better at what you do. Here is another example. Think about your relationships. Whether it's family, friends, or romantic partners, we often focus on what's not working in our relationships. We might get frustrated by a partner's habits, feel disconnected from a friend, or struggle with family dynamics. But when you practice gratitude for the people in your life, you shift your focus to what they bring to the table. You realize how much love, support, and joy they offer you. Maybe your partner is always there for you in moments of need. Your friend makes you laugh when you need it most. Or your family has supported you through thick and thin. Gratitude in relationships helps you appreciate the people around you for who they are, rather than focusing on the things they do that upset you. It deepens connections, brings understanding, and creates a bond built on appreciation. In times of hardship, practicing gratitude can seem like a daunting task. But here's the secret. It's precisely in those moments of difficulty that gratitude can be your most powerful ally. When life feels like it's throwing challenges at you from every angle, it's easy to fall into despair. But the key is to find even the smallest things to be thankful for, even when everything feels wrong. Let's say you're going through a tough breakup or a personal loss. Instead of wallowing in the pain, you could practice gratitude for the lessons learned, for the strength you're discovering within yourself, and for the support of your friends and family. Gratitude in difficult moments doesn't mean denying the pain. It means finding resilience in the face of adversity. It's about recognizing that even in hardship, there are things to be thankful for. Every difficult moment carries a lesson. And practicing gratitude helps you find that lesson rather than being consumed by the struggle. Another example, have you ever found yourself frustrated by something as simple as a traffic jam? How many times have we allowed these minor annoyances to ruin our entire day? But what if, instead of cursing the traffic, you took a deep breath and practiced gratitude in that moment? Maybe you could be thankful for the time to listen to your favorite music, the opportunity to practice patience, or the fact that you are in a position to even be driving in the first place. Gratitude in everyday moments, like traffic, helps you stay grounded and connected to the present moment. You shift your focus from the frustration of the situation to the silver linings within it. This simple shift in mindset creates peace and helps you stay calm in situations where you would have otherwise been upset. Gratitude also has the power to transform how you view your body. In a world where many of us are often dissatisfied with our physical appearance, gratitude for your body helps you embrace it, flaws and all. Rather than focusing on what you don't like, practicing gratitude helps you celebrate what your body does for you. It allows you to appreciate the strength, the health, and the resilience of your body. Maybe you're grateful for your legs that take you places, for your heart that beats every second, or for your lungs that let you breathe freely. Gratitude for your body nurtures self-love and acceptance, allowing you to honor it instead of critiquing it. One of the most profound benefits of daily gratitude is its ability to attract more positivity into your life. When you practice gratitude regularly, you raise your vibrational frequency. You become a magnet for positive energy. Gratitude shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance. You begin to notice opportunities, blessings, and joys that you might have otherwise overlooked. You start attracting more of what you're thankful for, because gratitude opens your heart to receiving. It shifts your focus away from what you lack and toward what you already have. which naturally leads to even more blessings flowing your way. Imagine the power of gratitude if you made it a part of your daily routine. Whether you start each morning by listing a few things you're grateful for, or take a moment during the day to reflect on the positive aspects of your life, this simple practice will change the way you see the world. It helps you reframe your perspective, transforming challenges into opportunities and frustrations into growth. It helps you live with a deep sense of peace, knowing that no matter the circumstances, there is always something to be grateful for. Gratitude is a practice, a mindset, and a way of life. One that can transform your world in the most profound way possible. You possess an extraordinary power within you, and the first step toward unlocking it is recognizing that it's already there. Owning your power is about understanding that you have control over your thoughts, emotions, and actions, and that you are the author of your own story. It's not about waiting for someone else to validate you or make decisions for you. It's about recognizing that you are the driving force in your life. It's about standing tall in the face of adversity, knowing that you have the strength to rise above it, no matter the circumstances. Let's take a moment to think about how often we rely on others to give us permission to be who we truly are. In many situations, we seek approval from our friends, family, or society before we take action or make a decision. But what if I told you that you don't need anyone else's approval to step into your greatness? You don't need to wait for a sign from the universe to tell you that it's your time. You are the one who decides when it's your moment to shine. The truth is, owning your power means realizing that you've always had the ability to take charge of your life. Consider a young entrepreneur who is trying to start a business. She faces numerous challenges: lack of experience, financial obstacles, and self-doubt. There may be voices around her telling her to be more cautious, to stick to the traditional path, and to settle for what's safe. But instead of letting those voices dictate her decisions, she chooses to own her power. She makes the choice to trust her instincts, to push past her fears, and to take action even when the road ahead is unclear. She knows that her dreams are worth pursuing, no matter how many obstacles arise. Owning your power is about trusting your own abilities, knowing that you have the resources, resilience, and courage to overcome anything. Now, let's talk about relationships. We all know how easy it is to get lost in someone else's expectations or to mold ourselves into what others want us to be. Whether it's in romantic relationships, friendships, or family dynamics, it's easy to forget that we don't have to lose ourselves in the process of loving others. Owning your power means staying true to yourself, even when it feels like the people around you may not understand or appreciate it. It's about setting boundaries and being assertive about your needs and desires. Imagine being in a toxic friendship where your worth is constantly questioned. Instead of tolerating this disrespect, you decide to stand firm in your truth. You recognize your own worth and own your power by walking away from anything that no longer serves you. You understand that you deserve respect, love, and understanding. And you take control of your life by choosing to surround yourself with people who lift you up. Think about the courage it takes to own your power when dealing with a workplace situation. Maybe you're in an environment where your contributions are undervalued or overlooked. You've worked hard, you've given it your all, but you still find yourself feeling invisible. Owning your power in this context is about asserting yourself and demanding recognition for your efforts. It's about knowing that you deserve to be seen, heard, and respected. Instead of remaining silent and waiting for others to notice you, you make your presence known. Whether it's by taking on new responsibilities, asking for feedback, or speaking up in meetings, you stand in your truth and demonstrate your value. When you own your power, you refuse to allow others to define your worth. You understand that your skills and contributions matter, and you're not afraid to claim them. Let's explore the world of personal growth. Many people spend years of their lives playing small, afraid to take risks because of fear of failure. They want to achieve their dreams, but they are paralyzed by the thought of making mistakes or not being good enough. But owning your power is about pushing past that fear. It's about recognizing that every step you take, even if it leads to failure, is a step forward in your growth. Consider someone who's always dreamed of writing a book but has never taken the plunge. They're afraid of judgment, afraid of not being perfect, and afraid that their words won't resonate. But when they finally own their power, they decide to write anyway. They write because they understand that their voice matters. They write because they know that their story has the potential to inspire others. Owning your power means embracing the discomfort of growth. It means understanding that perfection is not the goal, but progress is. There are also moments when life throws you a curveball, an unexpected setback, a personal challenge, or a loss. It's easy to fall into a victim mentality during these times, believing that life is happening to you. But owning your power means refusing to see yourself as a victim. Instead of letting external circumstances define you, you decide to respond with resilience. Think about someone who's lost a job, a relationship, or a loved one. Instead of letting that loss define them, they choose to take control of their narrative. They don't see themselves as defeated. They see themselves as a survivor. They tap into their inner strength, recognize the lessons in their struggles, and move forward with renewed determination. Owning your power means knowing that no matter what life throws your way, you have the strength to rise above it. Finally, owning your power isn't about arrogance. It's not about walking through life with a sense of entitlement or superiority. It's about confidence and humility combined. It's about recognizing that you are deserving of greatness, while also staying grounded in the understanding that growth is a continuous process. Owning your power is knowing that you are enough, just as you are. It's the knowledge that you don't need to seek validation from anyone else, because you already possess everything you need within you. When you own your power, you become a force of nature. You begin to make decisions based on your inner truth, your core values, and your unique vision for your life. You don't let anyone define your worth, and you don't let fear hold you back. You step into your own greatness with confidence, courage, and conviction. And you show the world what is possible when you choose to own the power that resides within you. As we conclude today, I want you to leave this moment with a deep understanding of something truly profound. You are not just a spectator in your own life. You are the creator. You hold the power to shape your reality, to choose your path, and to define your future. The choice to rise above every obstacle, to face every challenge with courage, to step into your greatness, and to create the life you deserve is in your hands. It's time for you to break free from the limitations you've imposed on yourself. Stop waiting for the world to give you permission. You already have the strength, the knowledge, and the wisdom inside you to create your destiny. Don't let anyone or anything dim your light. You are not meant to play small. Remember, the world doesn't need more followers. It needs more leaders who dare to be themselves, unapologetically and fearlessly. You see, life is not about avoiding the storm. It's about learning to dance in the rain. Every setback, every failure, every mistake is a stepping stone towards your greatness. It's not about how many times you fall, it's about how many times you rise, stronger, wiser, and more determined. The journey you're on is not a straight path, it's filled with twists and turns, highs and lows, but that's what makes it beautiful. Because it's in the struggle that we find our strength. When you own your power, you stop waiting for external validation. You stop seeking approval because you know deep within that you are enough. You no longer need to ask for permission to live your dreams or to go after your goals. You take ownership of your destiny and you trust the process. Like the great Maya Angelou said, we may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated. So I want you to ask yourself today, what is stopping me? What's holding me back from embracing my full potential? What am I waiting for? The truth is, there will never be a perfect moment. You have to create it. You have to be the one to take that first step, no matter how uncertain it may feel. Because that first step is the one that will lead you to places you never imagined, to opportunities you never thought possible. And when you take that step, you'll realize that the fear you had was just an illusion. And on the other side is the life you were always meant to live. I want you to remember this. Your greatness is not defined by what others think of you. It's defined by what you believe about yourself, what you do in the face of adversity, and how you rise when the world tries to hold you down. You were not born to be ordinary. You were born to be extraordinary. And that extraordinary version of yourself is waiting to emerge, ready to conquer, ready to shine. We are all given one life, one opportunity to make an impact, to live our dreams, to be the best version of ourselves. Don't waste it. Every single day is a chance to take control of your narrative, to own your power, and to show the world what you're made of. The choice is yours. Will you let fear, doubt, and negativity control your life? Or will you stand tall, embrace your greatness, and create the life you deserve? As the great Steve Jobs once said, your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work, and the only way to do great work is to love what you do. When you love yourself and your journey, when you trust in your abilities, when you own your power, there is nothing you cannot achieve. So take this moment, this breath, this second, to truly decide that today is the day you start living the life you were always meant to live. Be fearless, be bold, be unapologetically you. Your time is now. The world is waiting for you to step into your greatness. Go, own it, and show the world exactly who you are. Because when you do, you'll find that the world will open doors for you in ways you never thought possible. This is your moment. Don't let it pass by.